Is Rolex getting rid of their AD, their authorized dealers across the country and across the world? I'm the Watch King. Let's discuss it. So, first of all, the Rolex authorized dealer. What does it mean? It means that you are licensed to sell Rolex at retail. They give you the privilege of buying directly with them. There's about a 32% markup, give or take, depending on the watch, but that's the margin there, and you get to sell it. Now, Rolex dictates where you are. If they don't like where you are, if it's not in a quote unquote high end area, they will tell you to move in 1 year, and if you don't move, you'll lose your license. Oftentimes, it's tens of millions of dollars to do that. You have to renovate the store. You have to pay for all of Rolex's stuff. It's very expensive to do so, and it's just a complete hassle. So oftentimes, there's a long waiting list to get on this AD, but nowadays the mom and pop shops, it's almost impossible to break into the authorized dealer unless you know somebody very high up at Rolex, almost like the president, and your family has connections or somebody around you has connections. It's literally impossible. I mean, there's jewelers waiting decades for a chance to even get this opportunity. Uh, why is it going away, and why people think they're going to the boutique model? What does that mean? Well, a boutique model means that the brand controls everything. They manufacture the watch, right? Rolex has their own gold facilities, right? Refinement, everything about the aspect they control. So they make it all the way from when it's just gold, they turn it into a watch, and they sell it all the way to the end consumer. This has never been done by Rolex before. I know of 3 authorized dealers personally, and a few more in the Bahamas that I heard about that closed. There were smaller shops. The medium shops are getting bought out by big companies. Just recently, one with the 1916 company. I just found out. I believe that's what they're called, 1918, something like that. But yeah, that purchased a big one out here in the West, Colorado. They're pretty big. It was Hyde Park Jewelers. So you keep seeing about all these acquisitions with these bigger companies coming in. And Rolex did the biggest one of all. Now, I don't know if you've heard of Buccara. If you're in the States, you probably haven't. But Buccara owns Tourneau, and that's a big, on the East Coast, that's a big brand. It's an authorized dealer. And they bought Buccara, and of course, comes with Tourneau. So what does that mean? That means Rolex's very first time to ever sell directly to the public. They used to only have one store, and it was in Switzerland where their factory is. So now they're selling a large amount, and that is a very interesting situation now, because if I'm an authorized dealer, I would be very scared about, hey, they're going to pull licenses. They've been pulling licenses like crazy. They pulled one in New York. People are commenting on that one, and it all across the country. What does that mean? The jeweler Rolex says, you're not authorized anymore to sell my watches, and we're just going to pull you. And they can do that for no reason. There's no recourse, just because they want to, right? And if you don't follow exactly what they say, they do it. I'm not trying to make Rolex the bad guy. I mean, they do so many charities and so forth. It's just hard for the smaller guys to exist. And that's why we're in the situation we are. I don't think they'll go full boutique. Now, this is my theories. We're into the theory time. But I think they're going to have, in the States at least, themselves as Tourneau, which will expand. They'll have 2 or 3 others, and that will be it. And there's only 4 companies that will sell, or 3 companies, I really think 3, that will sell in the United States Rolex. And there will be major corporations, because it would get rid of all the flippers. The small mom and pop shops, believe it or not, they're the ones mostly accused of selling under the table. And mom and pop, I mean by that, if they have like 10 or less stores, right? It's like they're still very wealthy companies and so forth. Even if you have one Rolex store, you're very, very wealthy. You have to have 10 million in the bank in order to even apply for the license. I heard. Now that's just a rumor, but I know you cannot borrow money. I know that for a fact. You cannot get bank loans and say, "Hey, Rolex, I want to open a thing." That will never fly with Rolex. So anyway, it's a very exclusive club. Only 1% of all jewelers are Rolex ADs. Now they're even going less. Uh, AP did the same thing. Audemars Piguet, they pulled all their licenses and they went boutique only. So we could see it. I think maybe a long, long time away. I think it makes sense if there's two or three other companies and all the information shared. Hey, we sold John Smith a watch on this date, and if you see that serial number, he'll be blacklisted, right? That would get rid of the whole flipping market, which I think would be a good thing in turn, but it would bring prices down, I think, eventually. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Prices are already going down. But let me know your thoughts on this because I'm in theory time, meaning that I really think that this might happen, but essentially it's all a guess, right? We do know that they are breaking into the retail market. And if I was Rolex, heck, I would want to control the entire process. But there's a lot that goes into that, right? They have enough management, but there's still a lot, right? Different traditions happen in Asia, right? And how to do that in Hong Kong boutiques versus American boutiques versus boutiques all in Australia. There's boutiques everywhere. So each one is different. They have to manage leases, they have to manage staff, they have to get their customs right, the way business is conducted. So it's very, very different, but it is possible to do so, as we saw from AP. But AP produces, maybe 5% of all the Rolexes made, probably less. So it is a bigger endeavor. Let me know your thoughts below.